Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David Rooney, published the Revelstoke Current, and today I'm interviewing our mayor and perhaps next mayor, David Raven.
David, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good.
So you're vying for a third term.
I'd like to do a third term. I enjoy the job. I enjoy serving the public, and I'd like to continue on for another term.
Now, with two terms behind you, what do you regard as your major accomplishments as mayor?
There's a number of accomplishments. In the first term, we addressed a number of infrastructure deficit pieces that were in dire need of work that have been overlooked over time. Particularly the reservoir and the Downey lift station were quite key to the whole infrastructure piece in the city. In the second term, we focused on restraint. And restraint means that you don't do a lot, you don't spend a lot, you have to work within your means. And having said that, we have reduced the debt last year, we've reduced again in 2014 significantly, and we've built reserves at the same time. We've done a number of small projects and nothing large.
What you regarded, if you receive a third term, a third mandate, what would you regard as your major priorities?
If you look at the balanced economy, there's a bit of work to do with the sawmill. There's quite a bit to do with the railroad. But the growth in the tourism industry, with the resort being at least 15% year over year over the last 6 years, will take a fair amount of effort to make sure that we've got the accommodations and the services that are necessary to sustain that.
What about other sectors?
Well, having said that, David, there's some real key pieces that need to be addressed. The water issues and water security tied to food security have been a major challenge for the last while, both protecting Greeley, but also with the Big Eddy Works and the Thomas Brook people. And those have to be addressed in a safe, accommodating manner so that we can provide safe water to both of those communities. And the Big Eddy is a part of Revelstoke. There's a moral obligation to ensure that they do have safe water. We just have to ensure that the services that are provided by the Big Eddy waterworks are up to standard, and they're not.
No, clearly they're not. That's going to require a major investment on the part of the city to bring it up to our standards.
It could. We don't know. The city simply has no background material, understanding of what the challenges are over there. And we have to do the engineering study and document what that system has in the ground right now.
I remember being at a meeting regarding water. There was quite a bit of concern expressed by the people in the Big Eddy, and it was admitted by members of the board of trustees that they didn't know even where all the water pipes are over there.
And that's typical. I go back with the Big Eddy Waterworks to 1979, and I did a fair amount of work with them at that time, prior to Hydro building the reservoir and the pumping stations for them. But they didn't know what they had in the It's a system that was built in 1956 and has not had the attention that it should have. So it's understandable that they really don't know what's in the ground.
And of course that carries on. There's a bit of a domino effect with that. And we're seeing that already with, I'm not going to use the word moratorium on development, but there is some potential developments that get stalled.
Again, you've got a system that can't provide the quantities of water and the water pressures that are required under the bylaws and provincial regulations, as well as the assurance of which they will water quality for the residents. They've had boil water advisories almost continually for 10 years. Every time a pipe breaks over there, there's more and more difficulty. It's not just the pipes on the water system, but also the nature of the subsurface drainage in the Big Eddy. It's a complex thing.
Let's talk about something else for a moment. everybody, I think, has their ideas of where Revelstoke should be or should be going. What is your kind of vision do you have for the community?
There's a long-standing vision of a healthy, safe, protected, active, vibrant, sustainable community in Revelstoke. But its balanced economy is the key to its successes. And I don't buy that it's apart or it's in dire straits, but rather it's the perpetuation of that balanced economy, the growth and servicing of the tourism economy, and protecting the lifestyle that not only the older residents have, but the new people that are coming into town, and everything that they're contributing to the vibrancy and diversity of the community.
Do you have a sense of where our population is moving? If you look at Statistics Canada, goes back to the 90s, and there is a marked decline in our population to the point where it was 7,200. It was 7,500 in 2006 and 72 in 2011, and the next one could well be below 70,000.
It could, and yet there's people moving into town. There's probably 100 homes have sold in 2014. There's 20 new building permits for single-family residences. I built a house in 1989, and there were not 16 houses. There were 16 built that year, but there have not been 16 built any year since then. So there is growth in the community. There's people moving into the community. There's a number of younger families coming in. The schools are full, and our census just is showing a decline. I have new neighbors down the street here, but they will only be here for part of the year.
Well, therein lies part of the problem. We're getting new residents who are at best seasonal, as opposed to true year-round permanent residents.
Sure. So they spend 4 or 5 months a year here and 4 or 5 months in Ontario. Do they put their home down as Ontario or Revelstoke? Who knows? It's again a significant growth in parts of the regional district as well. There's growth in housing there that should be part of the demographic and the census coming into Revelstoke. It's the combination of the two together. Is it growing? It's probably pretty stable, is what it is.
Is that what we want?
Stable growth? No, I think it has to grow. It has to increase. It will never increase to the 20,000 as rapidly as was predicted with the growth in the reserve. But I think that we will see growth.
Do you think we need a strategy for attracting people to us?
I think that part of maintaining a lifestyle, maintaining a healthy climate, and there's 170 jobs in the border here, so there's work here. They have to be able to come here and live here. And it's the creation of new housing stock is a big move forward. We have to encourage people to come to not only newer industries, but also the existing industries, so you create the jobs and employment is necessary to continue on. That's part of that growth strategy. Sure. To create land is going to be difficult. The city is very constrained by the land that's within its boundaries, and the serviced land is even more so. So if you go back to look at the Big Eddy, tremendous potential over there with a proper water system. And if you had a sewer system in the Big Eddy, you would double the size of the available lots over there. And whether the residents of the Big Eddy want that is another question. But there's growth opportunities there. There's growth opportunities in Narrow Heights, but it's limited. It's very limited.
Change is always a difficult subject in any community because there's often a real segment of the population that doesn't want any change. And yet, if you have no change, you're going to get change anyway. It's just not going to be the kind of change that you necessarily desire.
Change is inevitable.
Yeah.
There's bound to be some people who don't want change, but the majority of the ones that I'm talking to are embracing the change.
Mm-hmm.
embracing the diversity and the young, vibrant energy that's coming with the change in the population.
Let's see how that shakes out. What do you think is going to be your biggest challenge if you're elected as mayor?
My biggest challenge. That's again, the Trans-Canada Highway is a fairly significant one that we've been working with. The growth in the tourism sector, and particularly filling hotel rooms, requires a diversity of opportunities that we don't necessarily have. We've got winter and we've got summer, but we don't have the seasons, the two spring and fall seasons. We have to find opportunities there. We've got to find different employment opportunities as well as the existing industries, and find new ones to come in. And that may be more in light industry and small industry than it will be heavy industrial. The heavy industrial major industry is challenged here. It's challenged because of the land and the climates and the terrain that we're doing, and putting them into larger centers.
Do you think we need to develop an economic development strategy to go along with that?
Well, we have some economic development strategies. We have been hustling in contacting any number of people who show interest in the community. I think that, if anything, the biggest thing we have to do is a to tell people it's not a good place to come and do business. Just defers that growth. To have a very negative attitude about what is going on in the community, what is available, and how to do business here. It does nothing to promote business. It does nothing to promote growth.
We'll see how that works out. But do we need a formal to say, well, we're going to go after this, we're going to go after that, maybe identify some business or industrial types that we really could stand a good chance of getting?
You can do that. We've done that before. We've got bits and pieces of it. We've been more opportunistic and chased any business that would come to town. Do we want to develop it in any one particular sector? We're doing that with tourism. We're chasing all sorts of opportunities, particularly around winter tourism, and real successes in the community. An economic development strategy, sure, it's a good goal. But it's not going to take away from being opportunistic and chasing everything.
Talking about tourism, how careful should we be with regards to attracting tourism?
How careful should we be?
Do we want to be cautious about who we bring here?
I don't think so. I think that there may be some tourism that may be objectionable to many in the community, but we haven't run into that yet. We're not advocating the Las Vegas style of tourism. We don't have that to offer.
That has been suggested.
There have been suggestions that we bring in a casino. And we would have to address that as the time comes. It's not on the table now. Nobody's suggesting nobody's come forth with the opportunity to bring it here. If they do, then let's put it on the table and talk about it.
What about that tourism park that was proposed for Greenwood?
It was proposed. It didn't get through the initial stages. It had an awful lot of challenges that went with it. From a city perspective, the big one was to ensure that we had protection for the water source of Greenwood. And that was not clear in their proposals.
Do you think that type of tourism development is desirable?
It could well be, depending on where it is. We've got one ski hill now that's nowhere near its potential growth. Its projected plans were 29 lifts, and it's a skiable terrain that's bigger than Whistler and Blackcomb combined. But it's not the only mountain. There's other opportunities. If you had the tourism base here with accommodations and people coming, you may be able to develop more on top of that. I would think that we should be looking at the opportunities from a convention center. Is that advisable? Is it something that we could make economically sustainable within the community? Could we draw enough people in to do that? We've developed the Nordic skiing tracks and cross-country trials. We've got some excellent world-class mountain biking. And now we've got motocross biking. And that will be attracting a Red Bull tournament competition this year. We're diversifying our base. But where else would we go with it? And there may be some sorts of tourism that may not be suitable. Let's make that decision as the time comes.
That's really a question.
We're open for business, there's no question. I've spent an awful lot of my time talking to anybody who comes through that wants to. Hustling people. I've gone to a number of people, business owners outside of the community, and offered to come and take a look, see what we've got. Where do we go? And it's not just in tourism, but in the other base industries as well. That's part of what I do.
You should be married as an officer, plenipotentiary.
Well, I am, and I spend a good part of every year as an ambassador. But what I haven't been doing, and it's part of maybe it's the restraint, maybe it's my own austerity and my own sense of what's appropriate and not. I haven't been going to Europe, and I haven't been going to Japan, or I haven't been traveling through all the ski resorts in the States like others. I just have stayed within the context of the city and very further. I spend my taxpayer dollars going forward. But I'm open to talk to anybody I can.
Has this job turned out the way you thought it would?
The merit job?
Yeah.
In many ways, yes. And in some ways, there's been new challenges that have come along that have made it interesting. Let's just put it that way. I've enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. I enjoy every day of doing it. It's very easy if you're spending. And it would be a real pleasure to have all sorts of money to spend. You don't have that. To be prudent with your taxes and to reduce taxes and reduce debts means you're not spending a lot of money, you're not buying the luxury items that the community may desire. So being a builder, I'd love to do it. But being frugal and practical and responding to the pressures both for taxes and debt means that you don't spend the way you would like to. I mean, taxes have gone up 15% in the 6 years that I've been mayor. They went up 59% in the 6 years prior to that. There was a tremendous amount of spending. And that would have been fun. But it's not what I'm doing.
No. Of course, you were dealing with a recession.
There's a recession in there. We're coming out of the recession. We survived it fairly well compared to many others. If you look at some of the communities that surround us, they had great difficulty. And we've done fairly well. Are we going to go ahead with it? Definitely. If there is significant growth in the community, I'd love to be the builder that puts it all together. That part's easy. To have restraint and provide the services that the city wants in a fiscally tight manner is much more difficult.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens on November 15th.
I look forward to it.
David, thank you very much.
Thank you.